What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, spiderdrew channel. I want to thank everybody to take time out their day to watch this video. Even if you only watch it for 30 seconds, thank you for clicking on the video. Okay, so welcome to the real video. I recorded that intro for another video, and I liked it, so I'm keeping it. And I'm wearing that mask because I'm social distancing from these Xbox niggas. All generation, bro. Okay, so Xbox dudes love to call niggas toxic. Love to call people toxic for just speaking the truth about this gaming shit. And it's reached a point where it's starting to be a little unbearable. So you gotta social distance yourself from some of these niggas, man. Not all of them, but some of them. Some of them is just real bad. And it's niggas like that on the PlayStation side. But they way worse on the Xbox side. And I'm gonna tell you why in this video. So Sony, PlayStation, they come into the gaming space in 94, 95, revolutionized 3D technology, revolutionized CD technology, and basically take the gaming world by storm. Sega, Nintendo, they basically fall to third immediately after Sony put out their first console, because PlayStation was just that good. Microsoft took notice of this. They wanted a piece of that gaming pie, so they hooked up with my dog Sega. Sega at that time was my horse in the race. I didn't even fuck with PlayStation back in those days. Sega Saturn, Dreamcast, I was good because I'm a fighting game player, and the Sega Saturn and the Dreamcast had the best fighting games, or the best versions of the fighting games out at that time. I grew up on Street Fighter 2. I'm a Capcom fanatic, so X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, Marvel's Capcom 2, all those games was basically my whole life in that time. So because the PlayStation, the original PlayStation, couldn't run the best versions of those games, I would go to a local store and I would buy the RAM cards, the expansion ports for the Sega Saturn, so I could buy the Japanese imported versions of those games because they didn't release here in America. And I felt like as long as I could do that, I didn't need a PlayStation. We had a PlayStation at the house, but I was like, that's my little brother PlayStation. I got the Sega Saturn because I was so into those fighting games. Then the Dreamcast came along and they continued that tradition. But this is where the shit gets slick, because Xbox helped develop the Dreamcast with Sega. And then once Sega kind of fell out of the console game and went third party, Microsoft took everything that they learned from them, created the original Xbox because they wanted a piece of that console money. I feel like that was the whole reason for them getting close to Sega in the first place. It is what it is, That's my personal thing. That's my number one reason why I hate Xbox. So it started there and only grew over the years. So we start there. Fast forward to PlayStation 2 era. PlayStation 2 probably had the craziest console launch in history up until that point. And I remember, I think there was like 200,000 PS2s for the whole America for like the first 6 months of release or something like that. Something crazy. I remember in high school, it was only like 3 kids in the whole school that had PlayStation 2s. So the very next year, I believe it was, the original Xbox come out. Maybe it was 2 years after PS2, year or two, either way. Xbox come out. They're the new kids on the block. They got this big, powerful console. At the time, the world's most powerful console. That's so funny. The Xbox niggas love to hang their hat on that. But at the time, they was the most powerful. They come out. They got new games that we never played on the console side before. They got Halo, and back then in the original Xbox days, I don't know if you too young to remember this, but Xbox had their own version of a basketball game. I can't remember what it was called. They had a football game called NFL Fever. They may have had a baseball game, but they had a lot of they had their own first party everything, which was cool. It wasn't for me because I didn't like the controllers. I didn't want to give it a chance because I felt like they only got close to Sega to push them out of the way. Um, because of because of Sega's business model, they kind of fucked themselves too. But Xbox helped. You know, once the Xbox came out, the Dreamcast couldn't compete, and they was just like, "Fuck it, we done. We just gonna make games. We gonna go third party." So that's my biggest number one reason for why I hate Xbox. They push my dogs, my original dogs. Sonic 2, shout out to Mark Cerny. Um, Sonic 2 was the game that did it for me in Sega. So once they push Sega out the way, uh, they're number three now. It's Nintendo, Sony, and Xbox. No more Sega. Um, I think it was like a year and a half later they dropped the 360 before PlayStation even dropped the next PlayStation. They come out with a new console. So the original Xbox came out after the PlayStation 2. Then they dropped the 360 a year before PlayStation 3, so they can get a jump on the market because they all about money. They jumped on that. They tried to get a head start, and it worked. They had a lower price. They had new flashy games. Xbox 360 just kind of exploded. They had the free internet because they had the I don't know if it was free, but they had the internet working better than PlayStation 2 had it. Where you could play with your friends, and that was exciting. It was an exciting time for a lot of people, and a lot of people still love the Xbox brand and the company because of those 360 days, which was the pinnacle of Xbox. They have never been that good again, and I doubt they will ever be that good again. I would like to see it because it's only gonna make Sony and PlayStation be better, but I don't think that they'll get back to those 360 days because of the people who worked at the company at that time actually cared about making good games. And if you've been following this console stuff, since the launch of Xbox One in 2013, they stopped caring about games a long time ago. So I'm just gonna freestyle the rest of this. I've been kind of chopping this up. I'm just gonna freestyle the rest of this. So they push my dog Sega's out the way. They jump in after the PS2 with the Xbox One. Then they jump ahead of the PS3 with the 360. They rush that shit out. Red Rings of Death all over the place. But they got a year ahead of PlayStation. So now they got the console gamers excited. They got the internet. The 360 was a good console too. They had some good games. Gears of War, which is probably Xbox's best game. They had 3 solid entries on the 360. I guess Halo had a couple entries on the original. On the 360. Maybe 2 and 3 was on. I don't know. I don't play Halo, so I don't play shit on Xbox. But 360 was innovative or whatever. So Sony come out with the PlayStation 3. They got head up their own ass because they've been killing the game with their last 2 consoles. They ain't even looking at Microsoft as competition. They come out, nigga, our shit $600, even though Xbox 360 just came out the year before at $500 or however much it was. All these games, they got a whole year on the market. You can't buy nothing but Xbox or old PlayStation 2 games, which they still was new. But in the console space or any industry dealing with electronics, once some new hardware hit the flow, everything else is old. Just like when the PlayStation 5 and the new series, PlayStation 4 is instantly old. November 12th, the day PS5 come out. So it was a cash grab with the Xbox, OG Xbox, and the 360. It was a cash grab, but at least they were making good games at that time. With this new shit, with this new Xbox One, they don't give a fuck about the games. They just want you to sign up for their subscriptions. They just want you on Game Pass. They buying up all these fucking studios. Xbox dudes is going crazy. Oh, I gotta talk about that. The number 2 reason why I fucking hate Xbox is because of the Xbox fans. Oh my god, these niggas is crazy, bro. They either crazy or they weird as fuck. One or the other. You never gonna meet a cool dude that's just a straight up Xbox dude. Now you might meet a cool dude that play Xbox, but I guarantee you he got a PlayStation. I guarantee you he probably got a Switch, a PC. He don't just have an Xbox. If a nigga just got an Xbox, guarantee you that nigga is weird as fuck. Guaranteed. Black, white, Indian, don't matter. If he only play Xbox games, the nigga is weird as fuck. So when it comes to their fans, bro, They so uninformed. They so gullible and believe anything Microsoft and Phil Spencer say. I put it to you like this. All right, here's a story. I got my PS4 when the Slim dropped in 2016. That's when PlayStation 4 kind of was ramping up, dropping game after game after game. As we like to say in the PlayStation Nation, banger after banger. I mean, Street Fighter, Uncharted, Horizon. It was just banger after banger, and I'm getting my PS4 at this time. So I had kind of fell off of gaming for a while. I got back into it with the PS4. Got my PS4 Slim, came with Uncharted, grabbed 2K, and I'm like, I had already had games because I've been on PlayStation Plus since the PlayStation 3 games, PlayStation 3 days. And I always, every month, would download games. Even when I wasn't playing games, I would just download them just to have them in my library. Say, one day I'm going to get a PlayStation 4. I get back into gaming. So when I got my PS4, I had like 2 years worth of games just off the PlayStation Plus stuff. So once I Street Fighter, Uncharted, I was good. So I'm like, man, this is great. This is great. Back into this gaming scene. I started checking stuff out, and all I keep hearing is these loudmouth fucking Xbox dudes, and I'm like, well, what the fuck is they playing? What's on Xbox is so sweet? I check out the Xbox side, and their best game was fucking Forza, and I'm like, y'all hype over this racing game? And that's when they started talking about Rise and Quantum Break, whatever the fuck. Those games is alright, but it's like they wasn't no fucking Uncharted. They wasn't no fucking Horizon. They wasn't what the fuck I was playing. So I'm like, man, y'all capping for this? So anyway, this is a story I was trying to get to. I go to GameStop one day. At this time, I was at GameStop all the time, buying up all the cheap PS3 games, because in 2016, 2017, PlayStation 3 games was going for like $1 or $2. So every time I would go past the GameStop, I just roll in there to see, like, hey, what I missed in the last 2 or 3 years. Let me see, grab this game, let me try this out, whatever. It was a guy in there trading in the Xbox One S and a base PS4 because the Xbox One X was about to come out. Say that shit 3 times fast. So I'm like, dude, you must have got a sweet ass fucking 4K TV. You about to trade in both of those and get an Xbox One X. This nigga looked me dead in my eyes and said, no, I just heard that the Xbox One X has an SSD in it. Load times are damn near instant. I knew that was bullshit. So I looked at the dude at the GameStop, the seller, and he's just like, I ain't telling him shit, bro, because I'm getting one of them. So he traded in both his consoles, his base consoles, got him an Xbox One X, and then he went home and played 1080p because he ain't had no 4K TV. I'm like, I know you just got a 4K TV, you trading in all this. He like, no, I just heard the SSD was faster, and they don't even have no fucking SSD. But that proves my point that Xbox niggas just believe anything that they hear, and they don't do research. They just be like, oh, Phil Spencer said it, Game Pass, it's all good. So they make it worse, man. It's like when you got a fan base like that, as a company, you can just do whatever the fuck you want to do, and that makes it bad for gaming as a whole. And that's number 3 why I hate Xbox niggas, because they're not innovating anymore. They innovated with the OG Xbox. I'll give them that. They innovated with the 360. I'll give them that. They didn't innovate for me because they didn't have the type of games that I desired to play, but they were good for gaming at that time. Now, it's like they can't hide their hand no more because they never gave a fuck. They came into this shit so they can get the bread. They could get a piece of the console space, and they didn't find their market. Now they doing something else. Now they doing this Game Pass thing, which is something Sony started back in the PS3 era with PlayStation Now. We started this streaming shit, and it was never supposed to be like the main thing. It was always, hey, we know some fanatics out there that's gonna want to play their games anytime, anywhere. Everybody not like that, but some niggas might want to stream that shit off their phone. So it was always just like a secondary option. Xbox is making this the main thing, and they don't care about how how bad or how much that waters down the quality of their games. You know, unlike the PlayStation, if you looked at any of this gameplay that I showed you, you see nothing but quality, nothing but, you know, immersed worlds. You know, shit that puts you in the game. You know, Xbox just throw shit at people, give them a gun and say go shoot some shit up. You know, pew pew games. You know, the Halos and shit, the Gears and shit. You know, I'm not saying that those games can't be good, but the passion that once was there is no longer there, and it shows. And it's bad for gaming. It's bad for gaming as a whole because they're not focused on the games. And when you don't focus on the games, you open the door for shit like this streaming shit. You open up doors for companies to get away like 343 making that bullshit ass Halo. So if you're not focused on the games, you're detrimental to the console space as a whole. And so that's basically why I hate Xbox, man. I'm not about to keep going on this shit. They fans is terrible. They don't care about making quality, heartfelt games, immersive games. They don't care about immersion. They just throw some shit out there and you know, throw it in Game Pass so they can say, hey, we got a bunch of free games in Game Pass. They want to be Netflix and shit. They don't want to be Nintendo. They don't want to be Sega. They don't want to be Sony. They want to be fucking Netflix. And Netflix doesn't have a place in gaming, in my opinion. So we'll see where this goes. Xbox is already dead. This generation is gonna be crazy. I'm gonna be here because, like I said, Xbox died. What day was that? The day they showed that fucking Halo. That was the death of Xbox. So I'm about to get off of here, man. Catch you on the next one. Spiderdrew out.